Now over to you, Matt.
Thanks, Lauren. Well, an event happening this weekend downtown Buffalo will have you dancing all night long for a great cause. We're joined today by the Shah family, who has a special story to share in conjunction with an upcoming event. We have Jenny and Raja Shah, along with their two daughters. We have Simran and Sejal. Now, before we get into the event, why don't you share a little bit of your family story with us?
Okay, when Sejal was about 15 months old, she suddenly stopped talking and stopped making eye contact, and we had no idea what was going on, and it took us about a year, but she was diagnosed with Rett syndrome.
So for people out there that might just be hearing about Rett syndrome and they're not quite as familiar with it, what are some of the characteristics?
Well, it does affect little girls. It's a genetic disorder. It's random, so it's not inherited. So about maybe 15 to 20 families in Western New York are affected by this and have daughters with Rett syndrome. It robs them of the ability to talk and use their hands, and many of them are in wheelchairs.
So you've sort of organized an event. We're called Hustle for a Cure. Now, Raja, why don't you tell us a little bit about many of the things that we can do at this event?
It's the third time that we're doing it. We're doing it at the First Irish Center at the Harbor Club. It's this Friday. It starts at 7. Look, these girls, and no one knows why, but they do extremely well to music. So in our house, we have music playing 24/7, and so the night really is about music and dancing. John Siglia, former Studio 54 DJ, is performing that night with acrobats and percussionists, so it's going to be a phenomenal show. It starts at 7, and the dancing begins at 9. It's an open bar, tons of food, and it's just really a great time.
Now, you mentioned that there's 20 families over Western New York, so I can imagine that this has created a little bit of a community for you.
That's right. I think that especially online, the Rett syndrome community is pretty close. It is about 1 in every 10,000 girls, so it's fairly rare. But you know, we found some community in with each other.
And now, what can people take away from this event? I'm sure that they're going to have a great time, but also learn a little bit about many of the girls' stories. Can they kind of walk away and take some of this information and apply it in their own life?
Yeah, well, you know, there is actually some really promising science, and all of the money we raise from this event is going toward 2 clinical trials that are actually helping girls with Rett syndrome now. So, you know, I think people can, if they come to this event and help the cause, they can know that this is actually promoting real life solutions for these girls. And
so they really can be on the forefront of contributing to what could possibly become a cure.
That's right.
Well, and it's not only a cure for Rett syndrome. Rett syndrome is the only neurological disorder where the gene has been discovered about 13 years ago. And they believe that the same gene that malfunctions in these girls is related to what causes some forms of autism, schizophrenia, and other mental health disorders. So we've raised a significant amount of money over the last 5 years, about $400,000. I've funded 2 human clinical trials, which have shown some promise for these girls. And we hope it's not just the girls with Rett syndrome, but other folks who have mental disorders where what causes Rett syndrome is somewhat tied to these other disorders as well.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. And of course, we'll put all of the information on our website to get you to the event. It's going to be a great one. But right now, we're going to head over to the other